Hi guys, I'm Cramel of House of Cramel and welcome to my house and apparently my bedroom. But there's a reason I'm here. I'm here because I'm about to get personal with you guys. I'm going to talk about the signs that led me to take a pregnancy test. What inspired me to do this video is around this time of the month, I guess it was about 2 years ago, I found out I was pregnant with my son. So we had a true Valentine's baby. We love to call him our love child. So I just thought it would be a fun topic to discuss. And I really wanted to do this video because there is one sign in particular that led me to take a pregnancy test that I really didn't know could tell you were pregnant. And I'll start with that one. So if you want to know, if you want to get in my business and want to know a little bit about why I chose or what led me to take a pregnancy test and how I told my now husband, then boyfriend, stay tuned. So this first sign of pregnancy I'm going to talk about is probably the weirdest one to me, and I had never really heard of it, but it's called a false period, also known as implantation bleeding. They call it a false period because it's just that. You think you're getting your period. Around the time that I took my pregnancy test, it was probably maybe the third alarm that kind of went off that I later learned it was a false period that made me pee on a stick. I went to the bathroom and I was just like, oh, my period is coming. And so, I put on the proper equipment, wake up the next day, my period still looked like it was coming. It never quite came. So after a couple of other things happened to me, and I'll talk about those after this, and I talked to my sister, she told me about implantation bleeding, and I had never heard of it before. So comment below if you had ever heard of this before, or some people might call it a false period, but let me know if you've ever heard of implantation bleeding. But it's when you think you're getting your period, but you're not, but you are experiencing some spotting. I guess some people call it spotting too, but it's actually due to, I guess, the egg implanted into the uterus. Please go WebMD or Google more about the scientific reasons as to why you might be spotting or actually bleeding and you think you're having your period, but you get pregnant. Because I don't want to steer you wrong, but I do know that that's something that can happen. So that was a big reason I decided to take a pregnancy test after my sister told me that this was a thing and is actually a symptom. And I said, what? So, okay. So that's the first one. The second, and I'll say this is probably one of the first signs that I started to think that something was abnormal with me, was motion sickness / nausea. I went on a work trip and I was in Arizona and I had the pleasure of going to this amazing desert, this cactus, whatever, national park. And it was really hilly. And so when we were driving through the hills, I had a lot of motion sickness. And y'all, I don't get motion sickness. I don't really get them on planes. I don't get them in car rides. Like, I just don't get motion sickness. So I did think it was very weird that driving up these hills caused me to be motion sick, but I just blamed it on just that. They were hills. I was like, maybe it's the weather. Maybe it's because I'm out in the desert and I'm behaving differently. I'm in a new environment. Maybe that's why I'm getting motion sick. But that was probably the first layer of me thinking, something's not right. The second sign that led me or kind of layered on to the motion sickness was, I call it a food aversion or appetite aversion. I went out with some friends that weekend, the same weekend towards the beginning of that weekend, I went out with some friends to a place called Topgolf. I don't know if you have them where you live, but we have Topgolf here in Atlanta. I was out there with friends, and when you go to Topgolf, I mean, you're there to have a good time. And me and my friends, we drank. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm a lush or anything, but I did find it surprising. I didn't want to drink. I just didn't want to drink. I had no desire whatsoever to drink because I thought it was weird. I was like, well, I gotta have something in my hand. I don't know. I'll just get a glass of wine to hold. And so I got the glass of wine and I just sipped it all night. And I only sipped this one glass of wine all night long. I never had anything else to drink, maybe some water. And that was just kind of not like me. I'm a cocktail girl. I have a couple cute drinks or things of that nature. I might have a shot or two, but I mean, that was my normal behavior. So it was not really like me to not want to have a cocktail. That was just weird. And it was also not like me to sip on one glass of wine all night. So I found that to be weird. So that was the second thing that kind of layered on. A part B story to that was me and my husband. We went out to eat. I want to say it was the next day or the day after. But I didn't want to eat anything there. Nothing there looked appetizing. And then I had this whole nausea episode in the bathroom that I was just, it was so weird. I was like, what is happening to my body? And that is when I called my sister. And she said, well, is your period coming? Like, is your period here? I also didn't have a regular period, but at the time I thought it was coming. It had been coming all weekend. But I told her about that, and that's when she told me about symptom A, or 1, however you want to label it, implantation bleeding, and how it was a thing. And so she said, Cramel, you need to take a pregnancy test. And I said, so yeah, I didn't tell my boyfriend right away. I'm calling him my boyfriend because that's who he was then. He's my husband now. But I didn't tell him right away, but he knew something was up with me. And so he stopped me in the parking lot and he was like, you okay? And I was like, yeah. Also, he witnessed the episode I had at the restaurant, and you know, he knows me. He knew something wasn't right, and he knew I wasn't right. He said, you think you're pregnant, don't you? And I said, so once I read up on the real alarm, which was false period / implantation bleeding, that led me to take the test, it did say, I think it was probably on the WebMD article, that you should wait a couple days to take a test because it could come back negative, but you could really be pregnant. So I had made up my mind I was gonna wait 3 days to take the test. Yeah, I didn't wait. I waited 24 hours. That was good for me. But I waited 24 hours and I sprung up at 4 a.m. Monday morning. Was it? No, because that was Sunday. I waited all day Monday and Tuesday morning. Yep. Tuesday morning, 4 a.m. I got up out of the bed, went in the bathroom, couldn't take it no more, peed on the stick. And y'all, the stick wasn't, the drop, like, it was just 2 lines. They just showed up. They were like, yeah, girl, you pregnant. Don't even. I said, what? So, of course, I said, I got to tell him now. So I woke my husband up and I said, hey, I took a test. And he said, okay, what did it say? He was very sleepy, y'all. He was half asleep. And I said, it said yes. And he said, oh, okay. Oh, okay. He kind of woke up because he realized what I was telling him. And the rest is history. We talked for about 2 hours about the rest of our lives and how excited we were and just how I was in shock. But we talked for the rest of the morning. We went back to sleep for a little bit. But yeah, and that's how I told him I was pregnant. I took 2 more pregnancy tests that week just because I needed to know if, you know, maybe the first one was a fluke. All positive. I still have those tests, by the way. Don't judge me. But yeah, that's what led me to take a pregnancy test. So if you, sis, are experiencing any of those symptoms, if you missed your period, if you know you had a little bit too much fun around Valentine's Day or any day, go ahead and go buy the stick and just see what happens. So in the comments, let me know if you take a pregnancy test. Let me know if you decided to take a pregnancy test. Let me know if this has already happened to you. I want to know your pregnancy announcement stories. I want to know how you discovered you were pregnant. Do any of you have any love children? By that I mean, did you conceive around Valentine's? Let's talk about it. So yeah, thank you for tuning into this video. Thank you for coming back to House of Cramel. Make sure you come back to see what we're about. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell, and I will see you later. Bye.